You really have to constantly check, doubt yourself, ask questions. So you really have to go out. It's not just enough to search online. So there's a lot of legwork really, and a lot of, you don't get much sleep. But it's very exciting and it's fulfilling when you know that you're really getting these inspiring stories and helping people somehow get that information. Okay, I'm Mitzi Borromeo. I'm a journalist. I work with CNN Philippines, so I do the daily weeknight newscast at 9 p.m. to 9:30 called Newsroom. And I also do a once-a-week current affairs program called Profiles. I started in the industry almost 20 years ago. In 1998, I started with a group called SNN. They were Sari Manok News Network, which eventually became the ABS-CBN News Channel. It varies really on a day-to-day basis. Most of it is I'm researching, I'm writing, making calls, maybe trying to get interviews. But the one that's really constant, at night I have to sit down with definitely we have a show meet, we call it a show meet, middle of the day, so you know what the main news will be. You plan maybe what the big stories are, what interviews for for your show in the evening might be, and then at least an hour before the newscast I have to sit down and read the material, so sometimes there might be difficult, just so you're familiar with your script, so that when I go on air at 9, I'm quite familiar with it, and things are always changing. What will happen, the story will change, the lineup changes, so it's really just a lot of planning, but sometimes you plan and things just happen totally off the plan. So that's Monday to Friday, and then once a week I shoot the show called Profile, so that's when we go outside and we follow the subject, and that's almost the whole day, because you really have to get them in their environment, and then out of the week, probably 3 days we're editing, we're working on post-production of that. And then sometimes we shoot on the weekends as well. And when it's Holy Week, Christmas, of course we're working, so sometimes it's a matter of just taking care of shifts, because if someone wants to take a day off, you really have to kind of negotiate that with colleagues to make sure someone is covering your role or your show. In the media there's no vacation, so you really have no holidays because news is always happening. So here, I think you really have to be passionate about it because you're constant. It's like you're on call all the time. So daily, I'm at the office, let's say by around 11 a.m. But my shift really, because I do the evening news, so typically you need 8 hours on the job, and I'm there because there's a lot of pre-production and post-production work, and now because I'm also handling another show which I'm very much involved in the post-production, so that's the editing, I also do the writing, that requires more time, so I try to come in a bit earlier, so because there's not enough hours in the day. It's when you go out on a shoot, so what you see, you have to imagine, let's talk about the news for example, you see maybe a 2-minute report. To film maybe the 2-minute report, you need sometimes it's maybe an hour of footage. You're out there filming, and sometimes your subject is not even saying what you hope they will say. So you can't predict. Sometimes they give good sound bites, and the hard thing on TV is you need a good sound bite and you got it. But there's so much more context to it, right? So that the one big challenge is you want to do a good story. There's so much background, so much history, but you can only give 2 minutes of that. So it's really choosing the best things and making sure that you're kind of being fair to the story and the subjects. Another is, when you go out to these, many of the locations, especially when you go in field to tell the hard stories, they're very difficult to work with. They can be, sometimes there's no power, you have to make sure you have your own battery, there are no bathrooms in some areas, so you really have to be a bit of a cowboy, it's really teamwork, that's where it helps. So journalism has so many tracks. It could be print, radio, TV. Some are not comfortable on camera, some are more comfortable with print. So I think what's important really is the training. So you can be trained in business and economics in terms of research, even sciences, What's important really is to have that discipline. So when you work in the media, you need a lot of research. You need to be familiar with, what kind of, with citations, referencing. So I think when people always say this, you should be passionate about what you want, because many people here in the Philippines, this is apparently how it works. They may not have finished a course related to journalism, but they learn it more with the practice. Well, definitely education, I think, is empowerment. I mean, there's so many out there without a voice because they haven't been educated, especially here in the Philippines, a big number of illiterate people. But again, education definitely, everyone is lucky to even have the chance to pursue an education, even especially postgraduate. But what's more important, as I said earlier, is even after you've gotten your diplomas, you always have to think about every day is a learning experience. So it's constant learning. I think in whatever you do, you always have to find something new to do. I mean, there's so much out there, no? That so many skills, so many career paths, so many people even to learn about. So I think in any job, once you stop learning and think education, that's the end. I think that's the end of your life, because really every day is a chance to learn something new. And I think the only way we can succeed is through constant education. So however that may be, it could be talking to someone, learning from, the manong in the taller, or even and not to look down on other tasks. I don't think you can be a billionaire businessman, but you can also be a guy on the street who, I don't know, cleans the streets, but have different perspectives. So I think education is really is the only way that we can move forward in life.